men aren't used to getting compliments at all.
Yeah.
Is it like really
Summarize
nice
it.
when a
Yeah.
girl like, researches like a football team? Why is it that men are afraid of commitment?
Yeah, why are we afraid of commitment?
Why are we?
Ooh, this is a good one. How do men deal with breakups?
Yeah.
I really want to know this.
I know it sounds harsh, but I know like guys tend to do that.
Hello and welcome back to 3 a.m. Confessions. You asked, we answered. This time we opened up the floor to the women in our audience to get the male perspective on some questions they might have, but might be a little too hesitant to ask. Today I have gathered an esteemed panel of the male perspective. Welcome Ashwin, welcome Kunal. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
We're super excited to really pick your brains and understand, I feel like women talk so much amongst each other about, what it is like to date and to meet new people. And it's sometimes hard to understand, like, what are guys thinking throughout this whole thing, right? So that's why we're gathered here today. I'm going to pull up some questions that our viewers shared with us, and I would love for you to really just open up and speak from your heart. Sound good? Number one question, I think all of us have thought this at some point or another, is like, how do you know if a guy likes you? What are the signals to look out for that might indicate that a guy is reciprocating, is into me, versus if he isn't?
If he is making plans by himself, he's not waiting for you to kind of go ahead with it. And if a guy is busy and he still finds time for you, that's a clear indicator that he really likes you.
Gotcha. Ashwin, what do you think?
Firstly, I agree with Kunal. Like, the plans thing is spot on. And apart from that, just trying to come up with any topics to have conversations on. Just, again, trying to keep it going as much as possible. Be it about anything, any show that he's probably never even like heard about. That's when you
How I
probably
Met Your Mother.
Yeah,
yeah, that could be one.
it's a good point. Yeah.
I see. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I think the theme is like making excuses to find more opportunities to spend time with her. So fundamentally, if a guy wants to spend time with you, he will figure out a way to do it. Even if he has to come up with fake topics to do, or even if he has to juggle around his work schedule or make time even when he's busy, that's a pretty good indicator. Are there any other indicators we can look out for? Like, what if we're on a date, for example? What are the signals that I can be like, oh wow, like he's really into me?
Not looking at the phone from time to time. Actively listening, talking about the things that the girl loves to do. So it could be talking about a pet or her interests, just talking about all that. So that's a clear indicator, in my opinion.
Like taking interest in her life, right? So if he is really asking you thoughtful questions about who you are and what you care about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not like I'm there to talk about my life all the time. I want to get to know you. And if I'm genuinely interested, I would ask you questions about your life.
Also, just trying to, again, I think make her laugh.
Yeah.
That, again, I think just coming up with like inside jokes, and even the most serious guy would like act a little silly sometimes just to make sure that, oh, this is interesting, this is keeping her engaged, this is making her laugh. Like, I feel like that's something which is a big indicator.
So almost putting in more effort to not necessarily impress her, but more like to ensure that she has a good time, right? And to make her feel good about herself. Interesting. I also wonder, like, what does it look like when a guy is not into me, right? Like, what are the signals? I think it's probably the reverse of what you mentioned, right? Like that he is checking his phone or that he's not proactively making plans. Are there any other ways to know that a guy is truly not into me?
Avoiding you from time to time.
Ouch. Right.
Yeah. Not instantly replying or actually even replying texts on time, I think.
Interesting. So I think it all boils down to the effort. And like the energy that person is bringing to like see you again and to meet you and to talk to you, engage with your So supposing, let's do a thought experiment. Supposing I met a guy and I really like him. What is the right way to let him know that I am interested in such a way that doesn't come off as creepy?
I feel like compliment something about him that maybe he's insecure, or again that he's really mentioned or he's proud of. I feel like the guy's gonna remember it. So
guys remember that one compliment.
Yeah, that's one.
15
Really?
years ago. Yeah,
back up all my life remembering the one thing she said.
Yeah, because men aren't used to getting compliments at all.
Yeah.
In general.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Interesting. Wow, I never thought about that.
It doesn't have to be like a long compliment or a big compliment or something.
Right.
Something nice shirt
Yeah.
or something.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that.
That's how we decide, oh, that's my favorite shirt because I got that complimented that one time.
Oh, that's so cute. So if I want to let a guy know that I like him, I'll compliment him. I'll really like, I think also I've read this somewhere, but complimenting a guy on something that he has control over, like that he did, right? Like, oh wow, you did such a good job on changing your tire. I don't know, like just something that he was able to control, as opposed to like, oh wow, I like how you're so tall, which is not something that he achieved necessarily.
Yeah.
So maybe acknowledging one's accomplishments or acknowledging something that they did.
Yeah, I think there's another thing, like just not
Yeah.
dismissing whatever the guy is geeky or nerdy about. Like it could be football, it could be superheroes, it could be anything, just taking that interest. And also, even if you do not have the most knowledge or the most interest, still diving in. I feel like, again,
I think
also
it's the
shows
fact
interest.
that you're showing interest, the
Yeah.
guy's interest.
Yeah.
That's a compliment in itself.
Is it like
To
really
summarize
nice
it,
when a
yeah.
girl like, you know, researches like a football team and is like
Oh yeah.
getting excited about football matches with you?
Yeah, it is.
What's
It
your
is.
take, Kunal?
It is very exciting.
Really?
Yeah, but it has to be genuine to some extent. It's not
Got
like
it.
doing it just for the sake of it.
Right.
Even for women, I think it's like you would hear this a lot. You're pretty, you're this, you're that. But if someone is giving you personalized compliments, that makes a profound impact.
True.
Same goes for men to a certain extent. That doesn't have to be too generic or something. A simple compliment, but it has to be true to the guy.
I have a question. Is there such a thing as a woman being too forward? Because I think when we grow up as women, you know, we're also taught that like, oh, don't be so in your face, like approach a guy and just be like, hey, I like you, you know, or just declare your love. At the same time, I've heard from other guys that they actually appreciate when women are pretty direct and sort of unambiguous about their intentions with you. So what's your guys' stance? Is there such a thing as being too forward? And is that perceived as like, oh, like why is she coming on so strong?
I think not really, because again, like when you start liking someone or when there is that interest, then it's difficult to talk. Like you get nervous, you again think about, okay, what could go wrong? And when someone makes the first move, I think that's most appreciated. I think that also takes a lot of courage. So
True.
I don't believe like that there's something being too forward.
Right.
Yeah, as long as it's like, let's just go out for a coffee or
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's have food together. And that's good. It's not like taking it too fast, too soon.
Definitely. So we also got a question from a woman who clearly has probably had some rough experiences, asking, why is it that men are afraid of commitment?
Yeah, why are we afraid of commitment?
Why are we?
Why are you?
Okay, let me take this one. If the guy is not in a stable position, I think at that point, even he would find it difficult to commit to anything or any other person in life. First, he needs to get his life sorted out, and then the time comes to commit to other people. So I think that's my perspective.
Yeah.
I'm sure different men would have other perspectives, but these guys would agree to me to a large extent on this. Get your life sorted, and then you won't be scared of committing to another person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
If you can't control your own life,
Yeah.
how can you expect another person to come in? Because I'm not saying you have to control them, but they are going to be a big part of your life too.
Right.
I think it's about stability. Like first you want to experience it in your life and then bring it to your relationship. Again, as he said, you want to make sure that the things you can control, the things you can build up in yourself, you've done that. And later when you enter a relationship, you're more secure, you're more confident about yourself. That will also help sustain the relationship in the long term.
Yeah, I think so much about finding a healthy relationship and a life partner is actually has to do with inner work, like working on yourself and ensuring that you are most confident in where you are in life. At the same time, I kind of would contest that, you know, you necessarily have to be at a completely stable place to be in a relationship or like meet your life partner. Like Ashwin, you for example met your girlfriend in college, right? At that point, nobody's really settled or sorted and stable, right? Yet you were in that mind frame where you were ready to really show up for another person. So, can you talk a little bit about that?
I'll say like we never started out with this expectation of we're gonna last this long or we're gonna last forever. Like we were just taking it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Like even until last year when we like completed this 10-year journey, like it wasn't like, oh, that was the plan. The plan was just to again have fun while we were together. Like we even ourselves at the beginning didn't think through that, oh, it's gonna last after college or like what's gonna happen later. So it definitely still required a lot of inner work, as you said. Like at each point we also had our own ups and downs, and that's why I would say like I'm lucky that it again lasted for so long, it's going strong, but at the same time, inner work and stability would have brought more structure to it, like in the sense like a stronger foundation to it. So yeah, generally I would say like that really helps.
Have you ever felt growing up that it was not okay to be vulnerable, or have you ever stopped yourself from being vulnerable for fear of being perceived as weak?
Yeah, I think there is a narrative which says that, oh, men have to be the one to take on certain responsibility to be less emotional. We've all felt that, I feel. And again, when we go through like certain episodes, then we don't know how to express, at least like that's not what we have seen in the kind of media that we've grown up with, and even in our own personal lives, in families. So it's certainly a journey to learn how to open up. So initially, like that's how it starts out. But as you mature, you realize like the more vulnerable you are, the deeper the understanding between two people.
Yeah.
But definitely, like it's not how it starts.
No, I think a lot of women feel like, oh, what is holding, my partner back? He's not able to open up and express. But if you don't teach people that it's okay to express your emotions or even feel your emotions and acknowledge them, right, at first, and then start to process them and then talk to somebody else about it, then how would they possibly know how to do that?
I think why men hold this back is because of past experiences to a large extent. Maybe they got vulnerable too soon with the wrong person and it backfired.
Yeah.
So I think they're just a little cautious the next time.
And that's so unfortunate, right? Like someone's past history has kind of closed them up a little bit to protect themselves. I think the desire not to open up is definitely like some kind of coping mechanism or a self-preservation tool for people in general to just protect themselves from getting hurt. Yeah. And yet they're holding themselves back from the most beautiful love.
That's men.
That's men. It's giving men.
I also feel like men open up in different ways. Like maybe they're not verbal about it as much.
Okay.
Like they still open up to, again, other men, but like in very different ways.
Do tell.
Like again, just spending time together. Maybe not talking about the issue, but just making it a talking point about, oh, this is how the world is or something. Like just not making it specific to yourself. Just trying to hide behind that, oh, this is how it is. And then deeper down, maybe there is something about you.
I'll tell you how a guy is vulnerable, how Ashwin just talked about. If he's giving one particular girl some sort of an energy that he's not giving other women, that's a sign of being vulnerable with her. So I'm giving you some part of my life that no one else has access to.
Wow. And men do really hold that back, I feel. Like they hold it back until it's the right person, when they really feel comfortable to let their walls down.
Yeah, it takes a while times. Yeah.
I feel like we're also worried that maybe that's not the part that you liked in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe that's the part that you'll find problematic, or like so many issues. Okay, but yeah, they were all there. Like it's just now that we've started opening up.
There's that fear of like rejection afterwards, right? That okay, I was putting up this front and this performance, and now that she sees the real me, is she still gonna like me the same way? And like from a woman's perspective, all I think is that, if you were to share these things, like I feel I would like you even more. I don't know. That depends on what you say, obviously. But in general, like, there's nothing you could say within reason that would make me like you less if we're already at that stage of a relationship and you're choosing to like open up, So hopefully the men out there can feel more comforted in this knowledge. Another question from our audience. What are some green flags on the first date? I know it's been a long time probably for you, but certain things you look for on a first date.
It's fun. A lot of laughter. I think that's the biggest green flag you could ask for.
Funny girl, Kunal?
Funny girl, always.
What about you? Green flags? Or could you imagine hypothetically?
Having a good time, regardless of like where you were, what you were doing. Like the environment doesn't matter as much. Like, okay, we watched a movie, we went out for a lunch, or we were just hanging out in a park, wherever, like that shouldn't be a factor. At the end, like you just should come back and feel like, oh, that was a really good day. That's like a sudden green flag that, okay, like it was about us.
I think how people make you feel is so important, right? And so even after you come away from a date, maybe you don't analyze every single thing that happened, but if you are feeling good afterwards, if you felt like, wow, time really flew, or the conversation really flowed naturally, and it didn't matter if we were in a park or in a parking lot, like that it was just her and me in our own little world together, and it doesn't matter if it's the fanciest restaurant or not, it's just about the two people there.
And also like, the day ended too soon. Like, I had more to talk about, or I'm looking forward to the next date. Like that's a good sign of it went really well. Like this is the biggest green flag.
Absolutely, I agree with him on that.
Next question. Ooh, this is a good one. How do men deal with breakups?
Suppress it for the next 15 years. I
really want to know this.
Going to the gym sounds cliche, but it does help a lot. Men are in that zone too. Okay, I have to get my shit together and this and
level
that and
up.
whatnot. Yeah,
self-improvement.
Self-improvement and this and that. They'll take it personally at times. So they're like, this will improve their self-image or whatever. So putting hard work in the gym, focusing a lot on work, maybe just spending time with friends. Yeah, that's how I would say men cope up with the breakup.
I feel like overall just distracting yourself.
Yeah,
Just
keeping
not-
yourself busy.
Exactly. Just
Yeah.
not letting yourself spiral
Yeah,
into those thoughts.
because if you're just sitting
Yeah.
down thinking about it, you're in trouble then. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
keep
You
yourself
have
busy.
to face your emotions. Oh no. What
Yeah, I don't
an
think
idea.
men like to do that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it.
this is our way of facing emotions, putting the work
Yeah.
into ourselves.
That's why I feel like closure is really important. Like after the breakup, it's very important just to talk to the person about, okay, it's over, but let's be civil again, whatever the reasons were. Let's close it on. Why did we break up? Like, I feel like that answer is important for us to move on.
For me, it's
Yeah.
I don't need to have that conversation. You already kind of know what the reason is. If I'm comfortable with it, maybe then yes. Otherwise, I'll be happy with my own life later down the line. So why stress about it now?
Wow. That's so powerful, I think. Like to remember the why always. You know, I think
Yeah.
after a breakup, you're so heartbroken, you're so sad, you feel you've lost a big part of your life. But the why is so important. Like we ended for a reason. We weren't meant to be together, and clinging on to something that didn't serve you is actually going to hold you back down the line and preclude you from future happy, healthy relationships.
So, Chandra, how do you deal with breakups, or how do women deal with
Yes.
breakups?
I can speak on behalf of womankind. It's so different than what you described. Like, it's so interesting that, you know, men dive straight into like, okay, shut it down and let's swing into action and let's really move on and force ourselves to like ascend to a higher plane. Women, when they go through a breakup, will have a period of intensive mourning for some time right after, right? So for us, it really is an immediate sensation of pain and grief and loss. And that's okay, but I think we really do go through it. So we don't jump straight to the gym. I think we first have a good cry, you know. We often talk about it a lot with our near and dear ones, our family, our friends, and we may talk about it a lot, right? Just so that we can process it out and find the closure that we needed. So there's that duration of time where we're just truly processing it and feeling the pain. And then there's like this turning point where the sun seems to shine again and it seems like there's colors in the world again. And we discover that our life is so much full, even in spite of this person not being there. So I think discovering my own interests again and really focusing on doing the things that I couldn't necessarily do when I was with that person. I couldn't always, you know, just being selfish. Okay, I can make whatever decisions I want to make and not take into consideration a second person.
Embracing the
Really-
freedom to a certain extent.
Exactly. And really enjoying that feeling of being single and also not having that stress and anxiety of a person who's not right for you in your life. So there's that period of like upswing. And then there's like the real, I think, liberation that comes after that, where it's like, you know, you really detach and then you move on with your life.
So we do feel the pain.
You do.
Yeah, it's not like, yeah, it's done, let's move on with the life immediately. But it's our way of coping with it, coping with our own emotions.
Yeah.
We do talk it out with our guy friends, but it's like, it's happened now. And I'm not going to stress too much over it. I know that I won't feel like shit for the rest of my life. I know I'll be happy once again. And let's, you know, time will take care of it.
Just like you don't dwell so much on it.
Yeah. And it's not like about just breakups. It's like, for me, it's how I deal with life too. If anything is going wrong, things will get better. I just know that.
Ashwin doesn't have a comment on this. Have you
Not as
ever
much
had a major
experience,
breakup?
Not really, not in the longest time.
Okay,
Like maybe in
that's
school,
weird.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Got it.
Yeah.
Some people are just God's favorites. Anyway. Next question. Are guys really busy with their work? Or is it that sometimes they pretend to be busy but are not actually?
You can make it out.
Oh,
If the guy's
really?
actually busy or he's just pretending
How?
to be
How?
busy.
Tell,
You just
how
know
can you
it.
tell?
You just know it. I don't know if
Yeah.
I can quantify this through
Sure.
words, but you just know it.
Have you either of you ever pretended to be busy when you were not actually busy?
Exaggerated a bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
long time back,
Yeah.
but like not anymore. I'll tell you how you can figure out whether a guy is actually busy or not. If he has time to do many things in life and not spending time with you, that's a sign that he's just saying that he's busy.
Right.
But if he's just fixated on work and he's not able to do other stuff that he likes to do, that's a sign that, you know what, he's actually busy. Because for me, let's say if I'm not able to play football with my friends, it's an indicator that I'm really busy with life.
I think you can tell when someone's super busy, like you're not too busy to maybe drop a quick text, you know, and be like, hey, you know, I'm just running into a meeting, right? Or I'm not going to be free until 7:30 p.m. today, right? But, you know, I'm thinking of you nonetheless. And that as a partner, like, makes such a difference to me, because I'm like, it's totally cool, right? It's important that each of us have our own lives and to engage in not just work, meet your friends, play football, right? I don't think anyone's partner wants them to stop having hobbies and interests and pursuing those, but like making sure that the other person feels like you're still included, right? Or I'm still thinking of you, or, you know, I haven't just forgotten about you completely. I think that can solve a lot of
I feel like the thing you
issues.
said about just dropping that one text, that's very important, because if you let the other person sort of deduce that, oh, they're busy, like if you don't talk about it, that, oh, what am I occupied
just
with right
spiral,
now?
you know, in our
exactly.
minds.
So that one text becomes super important in that case, is to explain that, okay, this is what's happening, and that's the context of it all.
Yeah.
Once that's not there, then it's about, oh, like, I don't even know what you're busy with.
Right.
So, yeah.
Or are you even busy? You're just
Yeah.
like not responding to me, or you're just ignoring
Yeah.
me or blowing me off, right? I think if you know that your partner is also has a tendency to like get anxious when you don't text them back, which is a very natural thing, then that small text is also so significant. It makes them feel really heard and acknowledged. Why do men go silent after an argument?
You have had arguments, you go ahead with it first.
What do you
I don't agree with that. I don't think like men go silent after arguments. At least not my experience. I feel like that's when you really start talking about what's bothering you. If you don't talk then again, when else will you talk? Like if you go silent, that's exactly not the moment to go silent, I feel. And I feel like if there is silence after an argument, it's just about going back to peace for a moment, but then coming back again to resolve it. That, okay, let's not exhaust ourselves. But then again, if it needs to be solved, you can't really move on without having resolved it. But I don't really believe like silence is an intrinsic response to, again, getting through arguments.
But many men do that. And why they do that is they want to take away the attention at that point.
Meaning?
Women want attention, they'll take that away at that point.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I know it sounds harsh, but
Yeah.
I don't do that, but I know like guys tend to do that a lot.
So it's a tactic. Like it's a
some.
weapon in a sense, right? Like I'm gonna retract the very thing that it
For
is
some.
that you want right now. Like if a female partner, for example, is crying out for attention, like she's fighting with you, she's arguing with you, that's also a bid, right? That's a
Yeah.
bid for your attention. You take that away, you win, right? Essentially, you don't give her what
I
she
feel like
wants.
that makes it worse.
Crazy.
I know, I mean,
Yeah.
but we were talking about men, so.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like not during an argument with my girlfriend or whatever. All sorts of arguments, I would first want to think it through before I say anything.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, you
Yeah.
might say something wrong. That will definitely backfire, and it's like adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I would rather think it through and then put my points across. Not just get, you know what, I just take my attention and this and that. No, that's
Right.
not the reason for me personally.
No, just want to say, like, you got to realize, like, when you've crossed a certain threshold of, like, anger, at that point, you just have to be like, okay, let's just stop for a second. Like, let's just take a break.
Yeah. Like even with my
That's-
friends, it's like we have heated arguments about silly issues at times. And in the heat of the moment, I can say a lot of things.
That you
And-
don't mean.
Yeah. Even if I mean, I can say those things in a different manner, which wouldn't be rude or, you know, which wouldn't hurt their sentiments or whatever. So I need to keep that at the back of my mind. It's not about being right or whatever. Kind of solve it together. Whether it's friendship argument for me or whether it's with my girlfriend.
You're a team.
You're a team. Exactly.
It's you and them against the problem.
Yeah.
I feel like in an argument, you also see yourself becoming the person you're not. Like, you just see yourself being a little too vicious. And at that point, you just have a sudden realization. And you're like, okay, no, like, I'll just take a break.
I've definitely heard this like from men, even in my life, right? It's not, you know, they've actually communicated to me that it's getting too heated, I'm going to take a step back, but it's not because I don't want to resolve this with you. It's because I truly will not be my best self. I will not necessarily convey things in the best way if we stay in this at this moment. So let's take 2 steps back, give it some time to cool off, and maybe just come back. And in 90% cases, when we do come back to discuss it again, we're like half laughing about it. We're like, that was so silly. So I see the merit in taking space, yet I'm the kind of person who like wants to talk things out with my partner. Speaking of arguments, after an argument, after you've resolved it, do you want us to give you space and leave you alone, or stay by your side and talk about it?
I feel like right after an argument, maybe some space is good, like for some time. To just, because again, like you will revisit the things, like you just need that space to clear the air. Because you've already talked about it, you've exhausted yourself, you're done, like taking a break and then just coming back to it with a very organic contribution to a new conversation you're having. That, oh, this just happened, now we move past that, not bringing that back in or those emotions back in.
Right. And also not holding it against them later. Like what I really hate is when you have an argument and then like it comes up 6 months later that "Arey, tumne ye bola tha tab."
Yeah.
Like I think it's really important for an argument to get closure and then to go back to baseline and say that this is not something you're gonna hold over my head later like a talwar, right?
That's
really
very
hate that.
difficult to do. I know that's how things should be, but it's very difficult to do.
Some things you hang on to.
Yeah.
But that's all the more reason to be conscious about it. Like,
I feel like that's associations. Like you, when you're angry and you remember all the moments that you last time were angry for, it all just comes back together. Like last time I was angry, this was the reason. Then everything
tumne ye bhi kiya tha, tumne wo bhi bola tha us times. On August 6th, you said this.
So it's like, it shouldn't be a pattern, I think. That's the whole thing.
Right. Like if you're fighting about the same thing
Exactly.
again and again and again.
Yeah.
No, I was saying fights are still healthy in a relationship. Like arguments are healthy. So just because you are fighting is not an indicator that you're incompatible or that you should break up, right?
What is a fight like? I've never had too many like fights like these. An argument can be like talking about it in a very cordial manner. Would that be an argument for you? Or like how do women think about like this is a fight, or I had like a fight with my boyfriend? Is it like a heated argument? Or even if you're just talking about even if you're just talking about the stuff that's wrong in a very cordial manner, the way we are talking right now, would you consider that as an argument too?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I think disagreements happen and they're not fun either, right? You deal with a stressful issue and you're like, I didn't appreciate what you did or what you said, or I feel this sort of way. I think a fight is a little bit more advanced. An argument is like when it becomes more intense and it becomes more personal and more emotional. Like it's not about the thing, it's about you. Like not the thing you did, but like, why are you this way? That's when it reaches that level.
Yeah.
When you go to personal or something.
Yeah, it goes to who you are as a person as opposed to something out there that happened.
Yeah, that's when you weaponize sort of like the vulnerability the other person shared with you. You use that against me, like that's betrayal.
Coming back to the first questions about guys being vulnerable, I think this is like everything is linked in a way.
So this is another reason why men are wary to be vulnerable in the first place. Because what if it comes up and they turn it against me in an argument in the midst of a fight?
Yeah, could be.
What are the qualities men look for in a long-term partner or a spouse?
You've been in a relationship for the longest, so we can start with this.
I'll say sense of humor. Like probably wasn't the answer you were expecting, but it's not just about I say the funniest jokes, but sense of humor is also understanding the humor in things, trying to find the lightheartedness in moments, and that's very important. Not everything has to be taken seriously. Not everything has to like become a super important topic. Like sometimes you can just laugh it off, and that's very important.
No, every like older couple as well that we've talked to, like people who've had long successful marriages, like their main thing is that you have to be able to laugh at things, especially when things are going wrong, like especially in the challenging moments, the heaviest moments, like finding levity with your partner is extremely important.
Yeah, take a joke on yourself. Like, okay, I do this thing wrong. Like, I am, again, wrong about this.
Yeah.
And that comes with, like, just laughing about it, sharing that sense of humor with the other person. Yeah.
And that understanding that they are not gonna, like, make fun of you, right? Like, the intention is not to joke at your expense. Yeah. And I think you also have to, like, not have an ego about things. That if you're joking about each other, that you get offended or something.
Yeah.
For me, it's, can I be friends with this woman or not? I do have female friends, but it's not like I speak to them all the time 24/7 the way I talk to my guys. But if I can be friends with you, only then we can kind of go ahead with being, exclusive or whatever.
Friendship is the bedrock.
Yeah, it is.
I think love is probably not the most important thing in a long-term relationship sometimes. Would you agree? Like, it's not the thing that sustains you.
That's good. Like, how do you define love? Like, I feel like there's a different definition for all of us.
That's true.
Like, it's not a single one statement fact that all of us can say, oh yeah, this is what I have felt and that is love and that's what each one of us feel. Yeah.
So what is love? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I suppose you're right. But what I meant to say by that is that, there are so many building blocks to a long-term healthy relationship, and love is of course very important. I wonder if that feeling of like attraction and romance and butterflies, whether that is the only sustainer of a long-term relationship. I would probably say friendship is something that is going to help you endure the toughest times.
Oh, definitely. Like, yeah, it is friendship. But then I have a question, like, how do you determine, like, oh, out of all of these friends I have, like, which one do I actually want to get serious with? Like, what's that one indicator?
I don't look like the female friends I have, can I date them or not? It's like, I find this girl cute.
Yeah.
Can I be friends with her or not? And then things move forward from there.
So you're saying friend zoning people is a good thing?
I don't know. Yeah, for me, it's like, I find this woman attractive. She's ticking a lot of boxes that I've thought about. But being friends with her is a deal breaker for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She can be really attractive. Her career is sorted and everything. But if I don't have that vibes match, if I can't be friends with her, I know what will I do? Like, I can't even talk about anything then.
Are there other boxes that you're looking to check when you meet a girl? What's your checklist?
Of course, good looks. It is very important for me. Being friends.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. Sense of humor.
Okay.
She has to be, not she has to be, but I really appreciate it when she's my peace. It's not like chaos. I enter the home and it's like too many problems all the time, but it's like a calm energy in the house. Yeah, for me, I would say these are the major checklists, I would say. Yeah.
I never thought about that. To be someone's peace. Like
we all have stressful jobs.
Yeah.
We would love to like have peace at home.
Yeah.
So I would say that is a big factor. And that's why I said a stable career doesn't mean that you're the CEO of a company. You could serve coffee at a barista for all I care. As long as you're a good person and the boxes that I talked about, I would love that.
We have another question. We mentioned friendship. You said friendship's really important. What if a girl tells you, I really like hanging out with you, I've really enjoyed our time together, but I just want to be friends? How do you feel? How do you respond? And what's the next step for you?
If she's saying that she's not attracted to you as a guy, you should move on. Yeah. If you want to be friends with her, that's your call. But that's a clear indicator that she doesn't consider you to be, worthy of dating you. Not saying that there's something wrong with you, but you're not the guy she's looking for. And this is a very, how shall I put this, polite manner of saying,
it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Do you think it's advisable to remain friends with that person? Like, supposing you were really romantically interested in them and they're like, I just want to be friends.
I won't. Personally, I won't.
You wouldn't.
No. My advice would be, there is no point. I'm pretty sure you have other friends. Yes. You're not losing out on something.
That would also be just be unfair to yourself. Like, you've been told in as clear a manner as possible that you're not checking the boxes for her. So, again, why to be harsh on yourself? Okay, what else do I need to do? Or like, how can I be better? No, like, it's fine. Like, everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody likes different people.
Absolutely.
The best thing to do for both of you is to just move on.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think the thing not to do is to try and convince her otherwise, or to retain some kind of hope that, oh, well, if I change myself, or if I'm different in this particular way, oh, she wants a guy with short hair, so let me cut my hair, or let me dress differently. Like, I think that's totally the wrong approach. And yet sometimes people do that, because they just really want that validation. Another question from our lovely audience is female friends. If you're in a relationship with someone, say your girlfriend is uncomfortable with you spending a lot of time with your female friends, how do you navigate that situation?
Goes for both guys and girls. For guys, for me, or many guys I know, it's a red flag if a girl has too many guy friends. it's a red flag for the girls.
Yeah.
If a guy has too many girlfriends.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, why do you need them?
But what if a guy is genuinely like friends with them?
I
Like,
disagree, but like this. Okay. So me and again, my partner, like both of us are the way in which I have more female friends. She has more guy friends,
oh really?
and that's the case with us.
That's an
So,
exception, and you
yeah.
have someone who's been dating for like 10 years. I'm really
Okay.
happy with that.
Okay.
But generally speaking, even girls think like, why does he have so many girls he's
Right.
talking to?
Definitely.
For guys, it's like, why is this girl speaking to so many guys?
Right.
Yeah. If she has a lot of girlfriends, or if the guy has a lot of guy friends, that's a very, reassuring thing to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Interesting.
no one has to worry about me. Like, if I'm speaking to a girlfriend of mine or whatever, I know that what kind of a person I am. So the girl won't have to worry about that part.
Yeah, I think jealousy is a scary thing in relationships, and I think it always comes down to the relationship itself, not the friends, not the other people, but really how secure are you and me in a relationship? How much do we trust each other to spend time with people of the opposite gender, right? Maybe it's not friends, maybe it's at work. You work with a lot of women, you work, or you work surrounded by different people, and that's always going to be the case. Like, you're never going to be able to shield your partner from everyone of the opposite gender forever.
Yeah.
And to have such a solid foundation takes time to build, right? I mean, I've also fallen victim to that. I felt jealous. I think everyone has felt at least a little bit uncomfortable when seeing their partner a little, too comfortable with their female friends, for example. And I think it comes down to me. Am I secure enough? Am I secure enough in this relationship? Has that person given me enough reason to trust them at this stage? And if not, then that's something you need to work out. Or maybe you take some time away from your female friends for now. I don't know if that's too unfair to ask, but like, if it is a requirement of your girlfriend that for her to feel super secure and safe, that for a period of time you just spend time with her more and you prioritize her over your female friends.
Wouldn't that be a little unfair? Because if a guy is genuinely friends with this person, you can't just say that, stop, don't spend too much time with them.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
It all boils down to the fact how you kind of react to the attention you're getting from the opposite gender in general. And that's how you give reassurance to your partner. What I pointed out in the beginning too, I'm giving you a certain part of my life that no one else gets. Not my female friends.
Right.
So this is something only for you.
Yeah. There's a difference.
There is definitely a difference. If the difference is not there, then there is a problem. Yeah. Sorry to point.
Or what if I mean, it's been the case with me where it almost seems like he's more open with his female friends than with me, right? Or he's closer with them. Oh, we've known each other longer. Oh, we have this whole shared history. And I'm like I should be the one getting access to parts of you no one else gets.
Absolutely.
Not the other way around.
Yeah.
But then is that a gendered thing? Like, that's where you can tell if it's rational or irrational. If, let's say, I'm opening up to regardless of gender, any of my friends, like, that's just who I am, that, okay, this particular thing, probably I've spoken to my friends about this, then shouldn't matter, like, if I've spoken to, like, a female friend, a male friend, like, then, again, if you specifically focus on the part that, oh, why a particular gender, then that becomes an issue. Otherwise, like, friends in general, you're giving more attention to friends.
No, but it's not realistic to view my partner's male friends and female friends the same way. Like, it's just inevitable that smallest, even the most secure person, the smallest thought might cross their mind that is still a woman by the end of it, and he's still a man.
Yeah, it does.
And also it has to do with your past experiences too. Like, supposing that woman has had a history of people being unfaithful with her, then she's automatically on high alert a little bit more. So
even for guys, I would say the same thing.
I'm sure.
They would always, have that insecurity of infidelity from time to time.
Just bringing that trauma to the next relationship. And that's when I say that if you really want to make the relationship work, then put in extra effort to make them feel reassured, even if it means prioritizing them over your friends for a particular time, right? To just show them that, hey, like, you are my biggest priority for now. And then once she relaxes and once she feels like much more safe, then of course you can go back. So,
let's say, hypothetically, I'm a guy that has a lot of female friends.
Right.
If my girlfriend meets these friends, will it be more reassuring to her?
No.
It won't.
Of course not. No, like, okay, imagine if I'm dating you and you have like these beautiful model friends, right? Who are just like Amazonian goddesses. And I meet them and I'm like, oh, these are your friends. Kunal, like, I meet them and I'm like, okay, so these are the people that you've been hanging out with without me.
But I still, like, I'm with you. You
Oh,
see?
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
It's not a good feeling. It's just, I'm just being honest. Like, it
No, of
wouldn't be a
course.
good feeling, you know? So me meeting them or not meeting them, I think would not help me necessarily. Seeing you
Yeah.
with them, how you are with them, are you being very close and touchy with them, or are you really
Oh.
maintaining boundaries?
Yeah.
Maybe that could help.
Okay.
Like you,
yeah.
but then again, like, people can always put on a performance when I'm there.
But then, like,
Right?
That's
Like,
true.
I
That's
don't
true.
trust that you're always gonna act this way just because I'm around.
But then whose responsibility is to work on it, like to resolve this general feeling of uneasiness, like with having such friends?
I think it's
Yeah.
both people. Unfortunately, I think it's a team.
Hmm.
It's a team effort to make sure that the person in question feels reassured. So number one, the person in question has to work on themselves in making sure they feel as secure as possible, and then the other person can go above and beyond to reassure them as well and support them in their journey towards feeling secure. So I definitely think it's a team effort. It's no single person's job to be like, oh, okay, you should just leave all your friends right now. Or my job to just be like, oh, I should just suck it up because people have friends and that's unfair of me to demand.
Yeah, you got to work it out basically.
As with most things in life, like especially in relationships.
Whatever
it's
is
both.
causing an issue or can cause an issue, like you should bring it up and work it out.
Yeah. And don't let it simmer. I feel like
Yeah.
if that's the case and you haven't brought it up, but you are genuinely feeling insecure, it's more important to let them know earlier on rather than to let it build up and the other person has no idea and you're just like suffering inside and then one day it's just gonna blow up and be like, oh, you always spend time with your female friends and you know, not with me or whatever, right? Better to catch it early. After a breakup, do you think you can ever still be friends?
Generally speaking, no.
Because the
You should
work it
move
would
on.
require to then make that shift from like,
Oh, yeah.
being in a
Love.
relationship to back to being friends. That's too much, and that's again.
Yeah. That's how
And
things get
what's the
toxic.
purpose of like putting in so much?
You have
time?
friends.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to go back to being friends. Like, I think if people want to be friends after a breakup, somebody still has feelings, right?
And they're
Like,
keeping you
that
as an
you-
option also.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. I mean, actually, that's true. Like, that's happened to me where it's like, I want to break up, but I want to be friends just in case my exploration doesn't
Yeah.
go as planned, so I can always come back.
Yeah.
And what do we say? Have self-respect and don't put up with just being friends or being considered an option, right? So you got to take a call for what's right for you. Okay, I think that's all for today's episode of 3am Confessions. Thank you so much to the male contingent for joining us today and really sharing, giving us an inside look into what's happening behind those beautiful dark eyes that you guys have. Thanks for watching. Do be sure to hit subscribe for more such content. Like this video, share it with your female friends, share it with your male friends. Let's start a debate. Do you agree with these opinions? Leave it in the comments. Bye! Back up!
Back up.